So, while I was in the remand facility, I gave Felicia very simple instructions because, I work alone and the materials I gather are very complicated, and the way I organize is not only complicated because I'm an amateur, but it's also complicated because I'm an independent editor, and it's also complicated because I intentionally make it that way so that information can be protected. And I can't really explain how hard that is. But it's important, at least for me to show that I try to do that. In any case, it's very important. There's lots of guilty people, but there's a lot more innocent people, and no matter what we do in this world, we have to keep that in mind every single day because it's just very important. And so the information matters, and I just want to make sure that it shows for me that it does. So, while I'm in this facility being protected by such fine gentlemen, as I already had in the video before, I suppose, I asked a woman who was terrified on the phone, and I guess relieved to hear my voice finally. I asked her to go into that complicated nest of material that I keep, or this vault, I guess. And in the enormity that it is, because it's fucking enormous, I asked her to very carefully and very thoughtfully look for very particular things. And it's a giant haystack, and it's not that it's disorganized at all. It's a very organized haystack. It's just that, well, like I told you before, it's enormous. And so for a young woman who's very unsure of herself to begin with, and also very shocked by the situation to begin with, it's kind of a daunting task to ask somebody to do something like that. And I just want her to know that it was a very brave thing for her to do. I saw a lot of brave things during that time, actually. I was quite impressed. Everybody thinks, well, Mike, you're the one that was suffering. No, that may be true, but I always try to look outside of myself, and I want the people that I love to know that I see them. And so I'm going to share with you what this terrified woman was managed to pull a fucking needle out of the haystack, I guess you could say. And the only thing I asked her was, do you have a binder there that has a sworn statement from a Crown official, yes or no? And she went and she dug around. And she found an enormous white binder in the haystack. She flipped and she flipped and she flipped and she flipped. And she said, yes, I have a page here on tab D. And I said, okay. What's it say? I make oath and swear. Ooh, those are good words. Okay. So make a note of that one. So this is what this Crown officer says. Do you understand? And she said, yes. And I said, now I need you to go and look here. And I need you to find me all the things that say that she's a liar. And I need you to understand what I'm saying here. I'm not saying find me the things that make it look like she's a liar. I'm telling a person who has no idea how my work is organized, or even what she's looking for. All she has is the concept of a lie, and she wants to find the counter to it. And believe me when I say she has to go through an enormous pile of material to find a clue like that. And like I said, when somebody's already shocked and emotionally in turmoil because of the whole circumstances surrounding that moment in time to begin with, it's a very difficult thing. And like I said, I think it was very brave. And so I want to share with you what she found. Because that making oath and swear document she found is dated for May 7th, 2021. And what she found for me starts on November 2nd, 2020. And I don't know if we need the court's clerks to explain to people out there what the difference between 2020 and 2021 is, but the primary difference is that it's a different year. And so the document that she has in relation to the response of that oath and swear person begins as follows. Good afternoon. Hello, Madame Blank. I thank you for your time. Here are the video clips that I had mentioned. While some of these documents are indeed redacted and protected for this video, the full original copies of all the documents are stored here, digitally and physically, as well as having further copies in the possession of third parties and also as documentation at our courthouse. But any documentation that you require, or any questions regarding any of these informations, or any of my evidences, please be assured that the Crown will always have my full cooperation. You may have access to everything and all that I have here should you require. Please let me know. And I provided links, also my phone number and all my contact information. That was November 2nd of 2020. No, wait. Yes, November 3rd, just after midnight. And there was another copy of it that was sent on December 25th as well. I didn't know. Wow, she found that as well. I sent it in duplicate so she couldn't ignore me. And our young woman looking through the haystack even found my duplicate. Look at that. And that's the one she printed that shows the duplicate. Look at that. It's amazing. That's well done right there for a researcher that is terrified and doesn't really know what she's looking for. Wouldn't you say? That's one email predating and showing the perjury of a Crown attorney. And then we move to, what do we got here? Thursday, November 5th, 10:54 a.m. Oh, so she acknowledges receipt, and she talks about things that I have to tell all of you. From my office to hers, I will share, but her office to me, I'm not going to read those because she would consider that to be privileged. So we'll just leave off. But she did answer me on the 5th, just not in any kind of meaningful way. So later on, my response to her is, good morning. All the files I sent to the JAG on Monday morning were destroyed according to a letter that I have here. So should I send those files to you now? I'm confused as to why I still do not have any documentation that explains to me what's going on here. I have nothing but a release paper from a remand facility. You understand that I have been terrified of leaving my home for nearly 2 years straight because of officials in the city after they colluded and conspired to destroy my family's life beginning on November 23rd, 24th, and 25th of 2018. You understand that the silence of the Crown after what has now just occurred with the spoliation of evidence is even more terrifying? A woman that is here right now with me, who went through criminal justice system less than a month ago, has a box of information here for a simple assault. She has forms, she has applications for aid, she has phone numbers, letters in the mail, outreach program, promotion cards, business cards, phone calls. All that before she even had to appear in front of any judge. Why am I having my life destroyed, counselor? Tell me why. It's very obvious the longer the silence lasts that this is all intentional. A paralegal who represents your profession committed a sacrilege and a hate crime, and everyone rushed in to protect the narrative. All men are abusers, right? She would be sitting in prison right now after what she's done. What public servants have done now to protect that narrative, and the lengths that they have now gone to through you in order to destroy me, is an enormous scandal that involves all the service delivery systems in our city. It's all right here, counselor. More than a decade of it. Is the only thing that I am to draw from all of this is that you are the one that is here to finish me off for them? Could we at least have dinner first? Now, I gotta tell you, I don't remember writing that to her, but I did. And this terrified researcher again found something amazing. That's the depth of the information that we have here. She already had a binder of material tabbed and indexed and ready for me when I got home. And I will have to tell you, she didn't number the pages. But we're talking between 40, maybe 65 pages altogether, including the tabs. But anyway, some of the emails are multiple pages. The point being, I only told her to look for things before May 7th, right? And, I don't really know what to tell anybody out there when a Crown prosecutor, perjures themselves to avoid accountability for statements of fact during a $12 million civil suit that's happening in a Queen's Bench matter. It doesn't even have anything to do with provincial matters. I don't know why a Crown officer would perjure herself over what would end up inevitably, I guess, just being her coming in to provide statements of fact. But, like, as an investigator, I have to ask myself, seriously, and everybody out there who thinks I'm fucking crazy, like, if I call you and I tell you that I'm going to get a subpoena for you because I need you to come in and substantiate, like, a time or like a place or like something that happened that you were there, or it doesn't mean you're in trouble. Like, and I try to explain this to people, they don't get it. Here's the thing. I explain myself openly to everyone, and I tell them what I'm doing. I try to help them understand, you know, like, I'm not calling you because you're in trouble. I'm calling you because I, you know, blah, 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 whatever it might be. What you have to understand is some of these people freak out. And I have to tell you, as an investigator here in this particular jurisdiction where, you know, Crown attorneys are perjuring themselves, or like I have to, as a refugee here, I have to become a prosecutor myself, I have to tell you, it's really bad when they run from me. It's really bad. Because I didn't have any reason to be suspicious of them. I was, you know, technically, some of these people I'm like calling for their help, saying, hey, you can help sort this out really quickly, and I just need you to confirm this for me. And they fucking lose it. So I have to ask myself, if this person that we're talking about here, this Crown Counsellor, wasn't involved in any nefariousness, why is her perjury in the middle of a $12 million lawsuit in a civil case that has nothing to do with any of the criminal matters that she's engaged in? It doesn't make any sense. Well, I guess now the wheels will start turning. It does make sense when you understand what it is that I'm trying to do here, what it is that I've been trying to expose. All I wanted was answers, but they've turned it into something else. All the doors shut in my face. Everywhere I put a foot forward, bam, they slam the door. Foot forward, bam, slam the door. What's going on here? And I've never done anything wrong to anybody in my life, and everybody knows this, and so does my records all reflect this. I'm not going to go on about this bullshit anymore. It's like blowing smoke up my own ass. I haven't done anything wrong, and I have nothing to be ashamed of, and I absolutely refuse to play a shame game for things that other people are absolutely criminals for. Right? I'm not going to pay for other men's mistakes. I don't blame anybody for the mistakes. I just ask that they pay for them. And we're going to have some payment around here, and I already told these people. It has nothing to do with threatening anybody. It has to do with, is there going to be a public system of administration for the people of this region, yes or no? That's what it has to do with. Is it going to be accountable? Is it going to be just? Is it going to be fair? And is it going to provide for the needs of the people here, yes or no? And that's a really simple question to answer as well. Right now, the answer is no, it doesn't do that. It can't do that. Not with the people we have here. It's not the system. It's not the system, do you understand? When you go to Athens and you find out that there's a segment of the city in Athens that still uses an aqueduct, it's 4,600 years old or some ridiculous nonsense. It's immensely old. And it's the type of concrete, we forgot the recipe and all this bullshit, whatever. The point is that it still supplies this water portion to a segment of the population, you see. It's extremely old. And so when you go and you visit this part of town, and you go to somebody's house and you're like, hey, fuck, you know, your water tastes funny and shit, right? They don't go out in the neighborhood and rip the fucking aqueduct down. Do you understand? They get off their lazy asses. They climb up in there and they find out, holy fuck, man, there's a whole bunch of rats up here. You don't rip the aqueduct down. You go in there and you kill the rats. So there's nothing wrong with the system of administration of law, of order, of any of the governance models that we have here for this place. There's nothing wrong with those things. What's wrong is the wrong people are running them for the wrong reasons right now. That's what's going on. And it's time to climb up in the aqueduct. Right? It's not time to destroy the aqueduct. It's time to clean the fucking thing out, because I have to remind you people, it's bringing us water. It's necessary. Right? It's fucking necessary. And that's why I continue to use the analogy, and maybe, oh, Mike, it's so fucking cliche at this time. Well, then fucking listen. It's necessary. This aqueduct needs to be cleaned out now.